So excited about our continued series. This is Senior Vice President Cecil Calliste, continuing with the 5 habits of success for building your business, here with us at 5 Links and OXZGEN, helping folks to be able to create change. So we have some new people that are joining. I see we have some new partners on. Neville, welcome to the family. Glad you're here. Glad that you could join us. And then I see M as well. Thank you so much. Welcome to the family. Glad you could join us. Excited about having you on with us today. So today we're going to be growing and building this business. That's what this is about, understanding how we build the habits, because this is the key. One of the mistakes that people make is that they do put effort in, put energy in, but they don't create habits. And more importantly, they don't create systems. And systems matter. Systems make a difference. And so we're going to start off with our first presentation, our first part. So I'm going to begin with that recording, and then and just a heads up so everyone knows, we have, so on Wednesdays we do a presentation for those that want to learn about how they can get involved with the company. On Fridays we do a presentation that's focused on helping folks to learn how they can build with the products. That happens every day with Lunch and Learn. And then the other days, Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, we coach. So today is a coaching day. And so we're gonna, like I said, we're recording because I'm making this series that we're gonna use for us to be able to generate and go back to, focused on these habits. So I see we have top producing Senior Vice President, Miss Nicole D.I. Oreo here. And I see she had her hand up. She wanted to make a comment. Ma'am, did you want to share something? I want to give you, I know you are the master of systems. You have an amazing system for your quick start. You have an amazing system for launching partners. You have amazing systems that you already use, which is part of the reason why you've built habits of success. And one of the reasons why you were able to recently promote a senior vice president in this company in 91 days. Wow. Let me turn it over to you, man. I want to give you a chance for you to be able to share. Please, mic is yours.
Bronze Senior Vice President, soon to be Platinum in my eyes, Cecil Calliste. You truly are a leader for the many, and you do it with grit and grace, and you're just so great at it. And God is using you to serve the masses. So God bless you. I am honored to not just call you my partner, but my brother. I appreciate the kind words. Trust me, it's all God. If it was me, I'd mess it up. I just want to be better than yesterday, but I am pleased to announce, because of your thorn in my side, that the process of launching a rep has now been uploaded on YouTube and has been blasted all over the place. So I thank you for your encouragement. Well, what I can tell you guys about this business is all you have to do is make the choice. It's just one choice, and that's to break the poverty chain in anybody's life that you know. It's to give them options. It's to give them choices. That's all you have to do, and this business could do it. With that being said, I'm Senior Vice President Nicole D.I. Oreo, and on behalf of my organization, Bronze Senior Vice President Cecil Calliste, I couldn't have broke that SVP without you. I mean that you definitely played a huge role of encouragement for the Senior Vice President, William King, and we can never repay you. I appreciate you, and that is my time.
Appreciate you. Thanks so very much. My honor and privilege to even be a part of that journey in any even small way. I just am grateful, and congratulations on your video. We'll make sure we sync that, because that video is so very important. YouTube makes things easier, and the fact that you've built that in, just super excited for you adding that in. This video is also will be on YouTube as well. So just amped that you did that. So with that being said, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to play a small excerpt. For those that are already in the book club, you've heard this excerpt already, but I'm going to replay it, because what I want folks to understand is that the habit that we're talking about today, that's so important, that people, everyone's talking about, how they build their business, what they do, how they do it, why they do it. But one of the things that we've got to understand about how we have success is that we really need to understand that there's some things that we do that are action and things that we do that are motion. And today's habit we're talking about is creating and maintaining a list. And I want you to understand that creating and maintaining your list really is a means by which you are able to create that action, do that action, do that action. It's one of the important action steps that we have to focus in on. So what I'm going to do really quickly is play this excerpt, and then we're going to go right in and talk about what it means to create and build a habit of creating and maintaining a list. So here we go. Let me play this excerpt really quickly.
But never backward. Chapter 11. Walk slowly, but never backward. On the first day of class, Jerry Ulisman, a professor at the University of Florida, divided his film photography students into two groups. Everyone on the left side of the classroom, he explained, would be in the quantity group. They would be graded solely on the amount of work they produced. On the final day of class, he would tally the number of photos submitted by each student. 100 photos would rate an A, 90 photos a B, 80 photos a C, and so on. Meanwhile, everyone on the right side of the classroom would be in the quality group. They would be graded only on the excellence of their work. They would only need to produce one photo during the semester, but to get an A, it had to be a nearly perfect image. At the end of the term, he was surprised to find that all of the best photos were produced by the quantity group. During the semester, these students were busy taking photos, experimenting with composition and lighting, testing out various methods in the darkroom, and learning from their mistakes. In the process of creating hundreds of photos, they honed their skills. Meanwhile, the quality group sat around speculating about perfection. In the end, they had little to show for their efforts, other than unverified theories and one mediocre photo. As a side note, a similar story is told in the book Art and Fear by David Bales and Ted Orland. This version has been adapted with permission. You can see the endnotes for a full explanation. It is easy to get bogged down trying to find the optimal plan for change. The fastest way to lose weight, the best program to build muscle, the perfect idea for a side hustle. We are so focused on figuring out the best approach that we never get around to taking action. As Voltaire once wrote, the best is the enemy of the good. I refer to this as the difference between being in motion and taking action. The two ideas sound similar, but they're not the same. When you're in motion, you're planning and strategizing and learning. And those are all good things, but they don't produce a result. Action, on the other hand, is the type of behavior that will deliver an outcome. If I outline 20 ideas for articles I want to write, that's motion. If I actually sit down and write an article, that's action. If I search for a better diet plan and read a few books on the topic, that's motion. If I actually eat a healthy meal, that's action. Sometimes motion is useful, but it will never produce an outcome by itself. It doesn't matter how many times you go to talk to the personal trainer at the gym. That motion will never get you in shape. Only the action of stepping under the bar and working out will lead to the results you're looking to achieve. If motion doesn't lead to results, then why do we do it? Well, sometimes we do it because we actually need to plan and learn more. But more often than not, we do it because motion allows us to feel like we're making progress without running the risk of failure. Most of us are experts at avoiding criticism. It doesn't feel good to fail or to be judged publicly, so we tend to avoid situations where that might happen. And that's the biggest reason why you may slip into motion rather than take action. You want to delay failure. It's easy to be in motion and convince yourself that you're still making progress. You think, I've got conversations going with 4 potential clients right now. This is good. We're moving in the right direction. Or I brainstormed some ideas for that book I want to write. This is coming together. Motion makes you feel like you're getting things done, but really you're just preparing to get something done. And when preparation becomes a form of procrastination, you need to change something. You don't want to be merely planning. You want to be practicing. If you want to master a habit, the key is to start with repetition, not perfection. You don't need to map out every feature of a new habit. You just need to practice it. This is the first takeaway of the third law of behavior change. You just need to get your reps in. How long does it actually take to form a new habit? Habit formation is the process by which a behavior becomes progressively more automatic through repetition. The more you repeat an activity, the more the structure of your brain changes to become efficient at that activity. Neuroscientists call this long-term potentiation, which refers to the strengthening of connections between neurons in the brain based on recent patterns of activity. With each repetition, cell-to-cell signaling improves and the neural connections tighten. This was first described by neuropsychologist Donald Hebb in 1949, and the phenomenon is commonly known as Hebb's law. Neurons that fire together wire together. Repeating a habit leads to clear physical changes in the brain. In musicians, the cerebellum, a brain region critical for physical movements like plucking a guitar string or pulling a violin bow, is larger than in non-musicians. Mathematicians, meanwhile, have increased gray matter in the inferior parietal lobule, which plays a key role in computation and calculation. Its size is directly correlated with the amount of time spent in the field. The older and more experienced the mathematician, the greater the increase in gray matter. When scientists analyzed the brains of taxi drivers in London, they found that the hippocampus, a region of the brain involved in spatial memory, was significantly larger in their subjects than in non-taxi drivers. Even more fascinating, the hippocampus decreased in size when a driver retired. Like the muscles of the body responding to regular weight training, particular regions of the brain adapt as they are used and atrophy as they are abandoned. Of course, the importance of repetition in establishing habits was recognized long before neuroscientists began poking around. In 1860, the English philosopher George H. Lewis noted, "In learning to speak a new language, to play on a musical instrument, or to perform unaccustomed movements, great difficulty is felt, because the channels through which each sensation has to pass have not become established. But no sooner has frequent repetition cut a pathway than this difficulty vanishes. The actions become so automatic that they can be performed while the mind is otherwise engaged." So both common sense and scientific evidence agree, repetition is actually a form of change. Every time you repeat an action, you are activating a particular neural circuit associated with that habit. And this means simply putting in your reps is one of the most critical steps you can take to encoding a new habit. It is why the students who took tons of photos improved their skills, while those who merely theorized about perfect photos did not. One group engaged in active practice, the other in passive learning. One in action, the other in motion. All habits follow a similar trajectory, from effortful practice to automatic behavior, a process known as automaticity. Automaticity is the ability to perform a behavior without thinking about each step, which occurs when the non-conscious mind takes over. You can see a few graphical representations of what this looks like at atomichabits.com/media. As a habit is repeated, it gradually becomes more and more automatic, and the shape of these charts, the shape of this curve, is what scientists call learning curves. These learning curves reveal an important truth about behavior change. Habits form based on frequency, not time. One of the most common questions I hear is, how long does it take to build a new habit? But what people really should be asking is, how many does it take to form a new habit? That is, how many repetitions are required to make a habit automatic? There's nothing magical about time passing with regard to habit formation. It doesn't matter if it's been 21 days or 30 days or 300 days. What matters is the rate at which you perform the behavior. You could do something twice in 30 days or 200 times, and it's the frequency that makes the difference. Your current habits have been internalized over the course of hundreds, if not thousands, of repetitions. New habits require the same level of frequency. You need to string together enough successful attempts until the behavior is firmly embedded in your mind. In practice, it doesn't really matter how long it takes for a habit to become automatic. What matters is that you take the actions you need to take to make progress. Whether an action is fully automatic is of less importance. The key point is that to build a habit, you need to practice it. And the most effective way to make practice happen is to adhere to the third law of behavior change. Make it easy. The chapters that follow will show you how to do exactly that. Chapter summary. The third law of behavior change is make it easy. The most effective form of learning is practice, not planning. Focus on taking action, not being in motion. Habit formation is the process by which a behavior becomes progressively more automatic through repetition. The amount of time you have spent performing a habit is not as important as the number of times you have performed it.
All right, so let's talk about our habit that we're focusing on. And that habit is making and maintaining your list. So the real question, honestly, is, what does it have to do with this part that I played, right? This excerpt. And what I want you to understand that I think everyone is missing in regards to these habits that we're talking about is that it is vitally important that you build into your routine for your day certain aspects of success that will help you to be able to achieve and be able to have what you want to have with your business. And one of the vitally important pieces of this is, in the first place, when you first start making your list, not just because here's the problem I have. I think a lot of people make their list, and when they make their list, it's, maybe, a piece of paper, write it down, then it gets misplaced, or in a notepad, and it's one place here, maybe it's over here, or maybe they want to be elaborate and they have it on their computer, or they go through all these different things that they're doing to create the list. But this list is a working document that should be with you and should be maintained all throughout your career and as long as you're building your business. So then, as a result, it needs to be a system, because that's the words I'm going to use consistently in regards to these habits, a system that is easily replicated, easily duplicated, and more importantly, that you can easily do. So what do I mean by that? Well, I mean, think about it. If your list is an elaborate document, Excel spreadsheet on your computer, and you need to transfer over information, that's great. It's organized, it's probably categorized and all this stuff. But are you maintaining that daily? And for some people, maybe you can. Maybe you will have a habit where every morning at a certain time, you will come to that computer, sit down and set aside time where you would take time to update what's happened, who you've called, interactions you've had, what were the responses. Every day, maybe you will take time to go to that computer and do that. But the real question you have to ask yourself is that easy for you? I'm not talking about anyone else, because for each of you that are listening to me today, you have to look at what's easy for you to do, because what's easy is what gets done, right? A lot of people will have all these different ways of doing things, and as a result, their list, I speak for myself as an example. I remember when at one point in time I was pulling my list together, and I have all these notepads and notebooks and all these things I got to pull from, because I started one list here and started a list there, and some were digital, and some were on a computer, and some were on an iPad. I mean, they were all over the place. And I finally realized that for me to be able to make my list work, I had to have a document that could be on my mobile device, and also I can also access it even if for some reason my mobile device goes down. So I started using Evernote. It's an app on whether you get it in the Play Store or iOS. Evernote was what I chose to use. I have another partner that uses Google Drive, and they have a Google Drive document that has their list on it. Other folks use paper because they prefer to have a hard copy. It depends on your personality. If you want to have hard copies, you need to have it somewhere that you can carry around with you and move. But I like digital because digital allows me to be able to edit, add where I am with that person, because it is a document that will be ever changing, constantly updated. I like to call it a living document. So what's the system that you will use for your list? I'm not here today to tell you what system you must use. I'm here to say that you must, number one, recognize the value and the importance of a list, and we'll come to that in a moment. But number two, make that list easy for you to create and maintain. Because if you don't, you won't. It's the facts. It's the truth. We all know how it is. It happens for all of us. You start something up because you're excited and you're amped and you're all pumped up and you're like, yeah, we're going all the way. I'm going to put 5 million names down. Woo, right? And then 2 days later, you got 10 names down and you done all the fizzle, all the energy, it's all gone, and you don't even remember what that list is. But this is a mandatory habit. Your list is a habit. So let's talk about what your list is and why you need to have it. So first and foremost, let me help you understand. Your list is your working capital. It is the resource and tool from which you are able to organize and be able to approach your process of prospecting both customers and partners. This list should have everyone that knows you by name or face written down on it. Did you catch what I said? I didn't say everyone that you are close to that's just in your inner circle. I said everyone that knows you by name or face should be in this document. In fact, your list should even have people that you barely know. So think about it. I think we all know this. A lot of us build our business, we get started, we talk to our closest friends and family and loved ones, and what happens? Those people seem to snub us, or they're the first ones to say no, right? And then we're like, I've run out of names. But the truth of the matter is that, I'm a Christian, so even Christ was snubbed by his family, right? By those that lived around him and knew him. The truth of the matter is that your acquaintances are your most valuable asset. The people that don't know you as close or as intimately are the ones that are more likely to build and grow with you. They aren't going to make assumptions about who you are and who you aren't. They're not going to write you off because they know you. So your list is where you're going to go to make sure everyone that's on social media, everybody that you know on social media, all the names are transported into that list. Whether it's Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, WhatsApp, whatever. If you're on Clubhouse, integrate, move the names over onto your list. All the social media platforms, put all the names down. Track your interactions with those folks, even if all you're doing is DMing them. Then your phone. Everybody that's in your phone needs to be transferred onto your list. Now, I know you're probably saying to me, well, no, I'm not putting everybody, right? Some people, I haven't talked to them in forever. I haven't seen them. We're not really close anymore. I need you to hear me when I say this to you. Your goal is to make sure that everybody that knows you by name or face knows two things about you. Number one, they know that if they want to benefit from a high quality premium CBD product, you're the person they need to talk to. If they have any friends, family, or loved ones that are looking for and asking about high quality premium CBD products, you're the person they want to refer them to. Everyone on social media, everyone that is an acquaintance, that's a friend of a friend, everybody should know that about you. You can't be an undercover agent. What business do you know that is thriving and exploding that no one can find it? We all know how it is, right? Businesses, they don't have good locations. They always say location, 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 right? Bad locations make many businesses that have great business models or even products or services still go out of business, right? So people need to know you're in business. So number one, the first thing is that everybody that knows you needs to know that if they want to get CBD products, you're the person they want to talk to. Now, of course, we have other services as well. If you want to promote those, great. If you want to talk to them about merchant processing, credit repair, ID guard, all the different things we have, great. They can know about all that as well. But your goal is for them to know you're in business. Everyone that knows you by name or face should know you're in business. The second thing that everyone that knows you should know, everyone should know that if they're looking to get some additional income and add some income to their household, you're the person you need to talk to for them to get some additional income, to be able to build a home-based business, because that's what you do. So if they are looking to make some extra money because things change in their lives, or a friend of theirs is like, man, I'm struggling financially, I'm struggling. Oh, you know who you should talk to? You got to talk to D, because D's doing some big stuff. She's like working from home and stuff. You should talk to her. Everyone needs to know those two things about you. Everyone. And so the only way that everyone can know those two things about you is if you make a comprehensive list of everyone you know. Now, the hard part about this is that we all know, besides dumping your phone and going to social media, it's going to be hard sometimes to remember people. But that's why it needs to be a habit. Your list can't just be something you do once and never do again. You should be forever expanding your list because you keep meeting new people. But not just that, once your list is a habit and it's a part of what you do, then your reticular activation system begins to go to work, and it's constantly helping you think of new people to add to your list. Your brain will work on your behalf to help you to be able to start compiling and maintaining and adding new people. So you'll start thinking of old classmates from back in high school. You may not even have their numbers or whatever initially, but you'll write their name down anyways, or write down something that reminds you. The mechanic at my auto mechanic shop, my hairstylist, my barber, the cashier at CVS or that I go to or at Starbucks, whatever. As you meet people, you write them down on the list, and then as you're able to update and add information in, you change it, you add a phone number, keep on building the list. You need to create some means by which you maintain and build your list daily. It needs to be a habit. It doesn't need to be hours of time. I mean, it may only take you 5 minutes, but that's okay. And as you're going through your list and sharing information with folks, you should be updating your list. Don't just make some phone calls and just call people and that's it. No, you've got to call them. And when you call them, whatever they say or whatever comes out, if I left a voice message, I'll put a VM next to it, which means voice message. If it's the second one, VM2. If it's the third one, because for me it's 3 strikes, you're out, VM3. And I'll put a no next because it means that I've reached out, left 3 voice messages, they haven't got back to me, deuces, next. But that has to be your mindset. Your goal is to continually maintain and build your list. So maybe the goal that you have for yourself is that I'm going to add 5 new names to my list daily. Or I'm going to add 10 new names to my list daily, because maybe it will take you forever. I know I have almost 5,000 friends on Facebook, right? So it would take me forever to migrate all those names over. But if I'm focused on doing 10, 20, 50, 100 a day, then it makes it faster. Constantly adding new names to my list. So when I go through and reach out, I'm adding new names. Here's people that I've interacted with. Here's where I am in the process. My working document continues to grow and expand because I'm constantly adding new people to my list. And I'm also constantly updating my interactions as I have conversations on a daily basis. But here's what's important based upon what you heard in that excerpt. See, the problem is that many people will only do the motion. Well, I've decided I'm going to, create my list, and I've decided this really amazing process that I'm going to create. And after thinking it through and trying to figure out, well, how am I going to do this? What am I, you know what? I've got these names, and here is my keys that breaks down all the different short codes that I'm going to use as as a diagram that I've created for every single name that I've done. And then I'm going to color code them. So I have this color coding system so that I know I will move people from hot to cold. If they're in the red section, they're hot. And when they're cold, they move to blue. And all this motion. But here's the truth. That motion in and by itself is not what's going to help you get results. The list is a tool and a resource for you to be able to take the action, which is having the conversations, going through the exposures, reaching out and piquing people's curiosity and interacting. If all you do is go through the motion and don't take the action, if all you do is think about how you're going to do the list and you don't actually make the list, and also just as importantly, make the calls and reach out to people, then all of that work that you put in to create the perfect list won't benefit you. So make it easy. Make it simple. Find a simple way that works for you. For me, it has to be my mobile device. That's easy for me. It's got to be. I know who I am. You know your own personal strengths. You know your own personal growth areas. So whatever that is, follow suit accordingly. But see, it's not just enough for me to make the list by itself. The other part of my system, besides making the list, is how I track what I do on a daily basis. And tracking is just as important to me as having the names written down. So I make my list, but then I have a tracking system that I use that tracks my daily activity. See, the list is just a tool that begins the habit of what it takes to begin interactions and conversations with your prospects. So in actuality, the list is the beginning. You got to make and maintain the list, but you're making and maintaining a list due to the fact that you're having conversations, due to the fact that you're interacting with, meeting new people, reaching out. That's the key. The reason why the list is there, the only reason why you make and maintain a list is because it's the tool you use, and it's the resource that helps you to be able to be organized when it comes to reaching out to folks. Because think about it. What do we tend to do? If you have no list, right? Start making calls. You may go through your phone, call a few folks. A few days later, you're busy, come back. Who did I call again? I don't think I called him yet. Calling the same person again, even though you just talked to them and they told you, call me back next week, but you don't have anywhere where that's organized, that's listed, or where you are in the process with them. You forget about people you spoke to. See, the list is there to help you organize what you're doing. The list is how you're able to manage your interactions with your potential prospects, your partners. Your list helps you to be able to be more effective and more efficient. See, too many people treat this like it's a hobby. I do what I want to do, when I want to do it, how I want to do it. And that's real cute. Folks, this is a multi-million-dollar business. We got people that are making $1 million a month. And I promise you, they're not making $1 million a month just because without some form of system and process. They're taking action and they're mastering what they do. So what does that mean? It means that you have to master how you communicate with your prospects, master how you have conversations, master how you peak. That's the reason for the list. The list helps you to be efficient and effective at tracking your interactions and helps you stay on task so you're able to continue to have the conversations and develop that skill. Without the list, what tends to happen is we tend to do things here or there, maybe sometimes, kind of, sort of, when I feel like it. But the list is what helps us to be able to track our activity and be able to be consistent. So we'll go back to something I've shared before. What are your minimums? That's the question. That's right. What are the minimums? What are your minimums? How many names are you saying I'm going to add to my list daily? And then what are your minimums? How many calls am I going to make daily off my list? What am I doing? What are my minimums? How many exposures am I going to share? Because here's the truth. We can also take motion by just sending out happy birthdays or sending out peaks and just interactions and conversations. But again, to be effective, you have to take action. And I want to make sure you understand this, because in this business, it's money-making activity. Are the things that you're doing, and I view action as things that you're doing, things that help you generate and make income. If you're doing things and you have your list and you're just kind of, the list is there and you kind of go through it as time allows, and you're not intentional about the number of contacts that you're making, the number of calls that you're making, the number of exposures, the number of no's, because you know I'm a go for no guy. You know, y'all know I'm serious about that, right? So if you're not being intentional about those things, well, your list won't benefit you. Your list will simply be a list. And that's it. But it's about what the list helps you to be able to do. So that's the reason why it's an important habit. It's an important habit because the list helps you to be able to create a system and begin a habit that keeps you organized and keeps you on task. Now, there are many people that don't understand how vitally important it is for us to stay on task, don't understand how vitally important it is for us to be intentional about what we're doing. Many people don't understand how important it is as a business owner to do the mundane, the things that aren't urgent but are important. But the habits that we form are what do that. So the first habit of basically doing what it takes for you to build and start your business. And I love what people, I talk to people all the time, because they think all the time, they're like, well, I'm not really sure it's important for me to get and stay qualified. Like, I don't know. Getting and staying qualified is a vitally important part of your business. But then creating and maintaining your list is also a vitally important part of your business. It's a habit that is foundational. So what's the system you're going to use? What are you going to do for you to be able to be intentional about your list? And honestly, are you truly maintaining a list? And in support of that list, do you have a tracking system that helps you track the efforts that you're doing? Because a lot of people aren't tracking, right? A lot of folks are, making calls when they feel like it. They think they're doing so much more than they really are. But because of the fact they're not tracking what they're doing, they have no idea how much they're doing. Without having some kind of tracking mechanism, we can think that we're working hard. But when we truly track it, it changes everything. I remember I was like, first started my weight loss journey. And my therapist recommended that I start using an app called, I think it's Lose It. That's right. Lose It, right? It's an app called Lose It. And Lose It has you put in everything you eat, like track what you put in your mouth, what food you're eating, right? Put in what the calories are. So I remember I'm heading to meet one of my youth at Dave & Buster's just to catch up and touch base with him. And so we're at Dave & Buster's and I'm about to order some food. And so up to that point, wasn't paying attention. I was like, oh, I'm about to get these chicken and waffles. Oh, yeah. I looked at the calories because I'm about to put it in my Lose It app. And I was like, I'm sorry. Does this say 2,000 calories for this one meal? Are you kidding me? And here's the truth. Before that, I'd have just been like, grubbed it down, wouldn't have thought anything of it. But I think at the time, my calories for the day were something like, I can't remember what it was now. It was like, I can't remember now. It's a long time. So I was trying to lose weight and I had to have a certain amount of calories per day for me to get the go ahead. But I know it was just over 2,000. It was maybe like 2,700 or something like that. I can't remember what it was, but something like that for the entire day, right? And I was like, let me get this straight. This one meal is like 3/4 of my calories for the entire day. Are you kidding me? But I wouldn't have realized it. I wouldn't have paid attention. I would have had no idea about that if it wasn't for the fact I was tracking what I was doing. So if you had asked me before that, I would say, yeah, I eat healthy. Yeah, I don't understand, because I remember my a trainer at the gym saying, you can't outwork a bad diet, right? I remember saying that you cannot outwork a bad diet. But tracking and seeing what I was putting in my mouth totally changed my perspective on what I was eating as far as being healthy. So for many of us, we think we're building our business. We really think that we're doing a lot of work. We think that we're putting a lot of time, effort, and energy in. We think that there's so much that we're doing on a consistent basis. But for most of us, what we're doing the motion. Just the motions. We're not taking any action. We're not doing the things that move the pin forward and take us towards our goals. And we're wondering why we're moving so slow. Why is it that I'm not getting my results? Well, it's because we're not doing enough of the money-making activity that actually helps us to have success. And so your list, managing, keeping a list, and then tracking your activity so you're able to see what you're doing on a daily basis, giving yourself some minimums off that list for you to be able to consistently work your list, and updating the information to keep you organized. All of that's an important piece of you being able to now take action and do what you need to do to create change for yourself and your family. Now, what I want to caution you from, I want to be very careful. Don't get caught up in and bogged down in a masterful system that has to be perfect. Perfection is not what we're seeking. What we're seeking is something that can help us to easily do what we need to do. So find something simple that you know you'll be able to maintain, because your list is a working, living document. So what can you do to keep that working, living document working for you? That's the goal. That list should be one of your tools and resources to help you succeed. It should not be, you should not be a slave to your list. Your list is a slave to you to help you achieve. So what are you doing to help you be more effective? What's the system you're going to use that's simple so that you can track and manage that list on a daily basis? To be able to keep that list going and continue to build it. Again, don't make it complicated. So you can, when it's time to make phone calls, well, you know who you've talked to for the week. You know where you are in the process. So I'll tell you a tracker that I use. My tracker, here's the things that I keep on my tracker. First and foremost, number one, prospects. Number two, social media interactions. So I have prospects, social media. Next is customers. Then I have new partners and partners. New partners are those that have been in the business for 60 days or less. Partners, anyone that's over 60 days. And on a daily basis, I'm making calls to prospects. I'm making calls, I'm peaking and reaching out to folks, and I track how many peaks that I do on social media, how many customers I've reached out to. And then because of the fact that I'm focused on building a team and help my team have success, I also set aside time to track my interactions with partners, both new as well as those that have been in the business. And some days I'm better than others. Some days I got to go back and look up the information because I was busy. I didn't track it and put it in. Some days I miss the mark completely, don't do anything. But the question you have to ask yourself for you to maintain your list effectively is, again, what are your minimums? Without the minimums, it makes all the difference in the world. So with the minimums, I will do this minimum amount of activity every day. I will at least reach out to this many people. I will at least add this many names to my list. Minimums are vitally important, and we'll get deeper into the processes and what we're doing as far as customers and partners. All that's a part of the habits. We'll get into those deeper. But for today, the habit we're focused on is creating and maintaining your list. I'm hoping this was helpful. What I want to do at this point is open it up for any questions that anyone has specifically around creating and maintaining your list. I'm going to open it up right now if anyone wants to unmute and ask any questions. And if you can let me know. I can record the questions if you think your questions will be helpful for others that can listen to this later on, or I can stop the recording. It's entirely up to you all. So anybody have any questions? Once, twice. All right, awesome. I hoping this was helpful. So I see a hand, Rosemary. I'll give you a chance. You want to use this on? Do you want to? I'll let you unmute. Did you want to have it on the recording? You want to have it after the recording?
Doesn't matter to me.
Right, please. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay. So, what is your? And forgive me if I'm asking a very basic question that seems obvious, but for those of us that are perhaps not completely up on all technology, etc. You talked about syncing your contacts in your phone to your list. How do you go about doing that?
Just so you know, I'm glad you asked that question, because I actually don't have a means by which to sync my contacts to my list. So I literally had to personally transpose the names. And the same way how and so there was a way that Cherie showed us how to download all your Facebook contacts into a file in the document. I was able to do that, but I have not been able to. I'm looking for a way, because what I'd like to do is, since Evernote can be on a computer, what I'd like to do is actually do exactly what you just said, find a way to do a CV file, and from that CV file, be able to CSV or whatever I forget the file's called. I'm saying it right, CSV, whatever file, that file that you use on Excel. Take that file and import that file into Evernote, or import that file into what's it called? Google Drive, right? So that way I can have all those things transposed into that, so that I have it there. So I've been looking for a way to do that. I do not know how to do that. I would love to know how to do that. So it's something that I've been working on. Because of the fact that it's more important for me to take action in motion, I don't spend a whole lot of time with that. I've just gradually migrated my names over, but I know that there's ways to be able to do that. And those that are more tech savvy than me can probably give that the answer to that, but I don't know that yet. So it is a work in progress. I understand, because it's a lot of names. I think I have somewhere in the ballpark of about 6,000 names in my contacts in my phone. So I've just gradually moved names over. The ones that are most pressing, the ones I've called and reached out to so far, I've gradually moved those names over.
Okay, well, I'm happy that I was missing something that key that I should have known. Yeah. But okay, now I know that. Okay, so the list that I just wondered whether most persons are using that. I know that on our virtual office that we have a document that where we can create a list. So is everybody using that, or just creating their own?
Yeah, I'm not using the one in the virtual office. I know some people are using the legacy app, right? So you can use the legacy app. The legacy app's a tool that some folks can use. I know some folks have chosen for that to be their list. So that way it naturally creates your list every time you send out information, whether it's through social media or by text or by email. It creates and adds to that list, and you can utilize that. So some people are using that. And then I know some people have used, as a memory jogger, have used Eric Worre's memory jogger PDF. So if you Google Eric Worre's memory jogger PDF, some folks have used that as a tool as well to help them be able to make and build their list as well. I think that's another way that folks are doing it. But yeah, I'm not using the one that's in the back virtual office. I have not used that one. I prefer, again, as I shared, for me, it's really important for me to be able to use something that is really seamless and easy for me to access. And so I like to have it digitally where I can access it right on my mobile device, right at my fingertips quickly, to be able to add names and adjust and edit as necessary.
Right. And you said that the name, let me write that down because I'll get off the name of the memory jogger thing. And I need to write that down because I will
Eric,
forget.
Yeah. No, you're right. Eric Worre. So Eric, W-O-R-R-E. Eric Worre. Eric Worre. Memory Jogger PDF. If you Google that, Eric Worre Memory Jogger PDF. If you Google that, it will take. He has an amazing document. I at one point I have lists all over the place. I use the paper copies, but I've now shifted everything digitally. I've just made the decision personally. It's just easier for me to track and keep up with. I've now moved towards having everything digital. It's just having stuff hard copy is just stuff is everywhere. When I need my list, when I'm trying to, it's just hard to find and track and manage and make updates. It's just for me. And some people prefer things in writing. And if they do a great, that memory jogger, he has a great document that has all the little lines and everything built into it. You can print that out. It's a great tool. So if you want to use his document, it's a great document. You can use that. There's a lot of great ones out there, but I just personally prefer digital. But that's my personal preference. But I encourage folks to do what's easy for you and what makes the most sense for you.
Yeah, I would definitely prefer the digital also because I think it's easier to keep up with and probably just more practical.
Now, Evernote is great. Evernote can be used on a mobile device and on a computer. So if it's easier for you to type all the names in faster on a computer and then have it easily accessible on a document on your phone that you can track and monitor stuff, then great. Yeah, that's what I would recommend. Again, the Google Drive. That you can make a Google Drive document. Same thing, you can access your Google Drive both on your mobile device and also on your computer. Again, so those are things that make it simple for you. So yeah.
And you said it's called Evernote.
Evernote. It has a green elephant. It's a green app with Evernote, EVERNOTE. It has a green elephant on it. Mm-hmm.
All right, fantastic. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Okay.
Yeah, no problem. Jackie, question. I see you have a hand up.
Okay, you really answered my question already by speaking with Rosemary, because when you said the different ways of keeping track of your list, which whether it was on paper, and then when you said digital, I wasn't exactly sure what digital meant, but I know what it means now.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I have the answer.
No problem. And I think one of the things that's important for folks to really kind of keep in mind is if you can simplify the digital, it will make it easier based upon your habits. So for some people here, the simplification of digital simply means that you will use the legacy app. Why? Because maybe if your habit is to daily send out a video or send out certain numbers of videos using the legacy app, you'll knock out two birds with one stone, right? Every time you send a video out, the video requires that you put a name, whatever, and it creates a contact, which means it goes into the legacy app, and now you're making your list automatically. So you can build your list and reach out to folks at the same time, utilizing and leveraging that app. So for those of you that want to make it real simple for yourselves, that's a really simple way to build your list. And in the legacy app, there are notes that you can take as to your interactions. You can set reminders to remind you to follow up with folks. All those things are built into the app, which I think is phenomenal. It's a really awesome tool. So for those that want to make it super simple as a starting point, legacy app is a great way to begin and do it digital and start there. And then you can move from there somewhere else, but that's where you can begin to add and add prospects to your list and just begin the process. So when you're interacting with folks and just reaching out, and you can adjust, how I talked about, you want to categorize it, you can categorize this person's hot, this person's cold. It gives you all that categorization in the legacy app. It's a really, really awesome tool. A lot of people don't understand how valuable it is and how effective it is. It's a really, really good tool. It's called a CRM. It's a customer relationship management tool. That's what it is. And so getting that CRM that you're able to utilize is powerful. So I would encourage you to use that. If you're like, oh, this is overwhelming, it's too much, keep it really super simple. and just go that route. And that's an easy way to begin working your list. So
I have another question.
absolutely, please, Jackie.
Do we have a glossary of terms that we use in the business?
You know, I'd seen one at one point in time. I don't know anymore, but I'd seen one at one point. Which term are you trying to get
Oh,
clarification?
no, I'm not. I'm just asking the question. I'm not.
Yes, yes, there is.
Okay, there goes.
It's at the end of your playbook.
Boom. There you go.
There you go.
Thank you, Katie. Okay.
I remember seeing it before, and I think you're absolutely correct. I do remember seeing that. Now that you mentioned that, but I remember seeing it before. So yeah, there you go. And your playbook.
Thank you.
That's how she does, Ron. I'll tell you that one right there. All right. Anyone else? Any other questions I can answer in regards to what we shared today as far as this habit right here? I want to make sure we're covering some things that are helpful. All right. Well, I'm glad this was helpful. I'm going to stop the recording right now.